a good start and you kind of get the season going right. How important is that to?
I think it's imperative to especially playing at home to do that. We need to play well against a really good team that's already beaten a team that basically handled us easily last year in the NCAA tournament. And they got a great win against Arizona as well. So they've done a good job. Darren's done a great job in a short amount of time. They've recruited well and done really well in the portal, and it'll be a hard game, but one that I think the intensity will be turned up a notch or two just because it's the start of conference play.
How restorative was the holiday break for you and the team?
That's a big word for this early in the day. I think it was good. I think it's you can have too much of something, and I think a break from them being around me every day and maybe vice versa, I think allows everybody to get their batteries recharged some. So and we've had a good week since we've been back. Guys' attitude's been fantastic, and we've had a good week. So I think that we've gotten better. But I also think that there's a kind of renewed energy and hopefully fresh legs that help with that too.
You've talked about this being the time of year when transfers really start to get acclimated and settle in often, not necessarily always, but how do you feel like you guys are with the transfers as compared to that sort of schedule?
Well, I think when you talk about transfers with us, you guys are primarily referring to AJ and Ryland. And you're not referring to Zeke, who's fit in quite nicely, and you're not referring to Diggy, who has done probably everything we thought he could do when he came, and then Shaq really hadn't had a chance yet. So to those three, I think that having Shaq out there every day and with AJ and Ryland, they're both going to be much better players the last 2/3 of the season than they have been the first third. Just because I do think they're more comfortable, but I can't say that makes for guaranteed success, but I certainly believe that there's a much better chance of them having much more success now on January 1 moving forward, or December 31st moving forward, than there was from November 1 up until Christmas.
Coach, could I jump on that topic right there and ask, what have you learned in terms of this new era and the transfers are older guys who you need to contribute? How has your coaching style changed, or what have you learned about the stresses involved and the challenges involved in this sort of portal era of transfers being older and more accomplished than maybe they have in the past?
Whenever you recruit somebody, and everybody says how great they are, including me, and then you get them every day and you see warts that you didn't see a lot of times in recruiting people. I can tell you this, the guys that we recruited, I actually believe they are what we believed that they were when we recruited them. I don't see warts. I see laboring becoming adjusted. So I think that's a positive thing in that it's not like, this guy can't get 15 a game. It's this guy doesn't feel comfortable enough yet to get 15 a game. Does that make sense to you? Yeah. So and then what else I've also found, and I think coaches across America would probably agree with this for the most part, not always. With freshmen, sometimes they don't know what they don't know. And a lot of times they're coming into a place with a blank canvas. And I'm sure it's this way in other sports too. With transfers sometimes, especially being at multiple places, they're coming in knowing how to do something, even though it's not the way that you want to do it. And it doesn't mean it was wrong at the prior place, it's just a different philosophical approach or different technical approach. So, and I think when you have to stop and think about how to do it as opposed to how you've been doing it for the last 2 or 3 years, I do think it takes away the reaction. And some players, get that quicker than other players. If you look at junior college guys historically across America, I would venture to bet the majority of them probably have a better last year and a half than they do the first half. And it's just, to me, it's because of comfort level more than anything else.
Hey, along those same lines, do you talk to your new guys about Big 12 basketball? The guys that haven't seen it, what to expect, what they're getting
Yeah, we
into?
have, but you're also talking to a guy that played in the Final Four last year.
Sure.
SEC's pretty good too.
Sure, yeah.
And you're also talking to a guy that played in the Big Ten last year. The Big Ten's pretty good too. We talk about that stuff all the time. And we talk about how the intensity level will be ratcheted up higher once we get into league. We talk about the second season. We talk about a lot of things. And I think over time, you would probably believe that we probably emphasize the league at a pretty significant level over time. Now that doesn't mean that everybody buys in, and each team is different, but there'll be a different feel for the energy, I think, once the lights come on tomorrow and the ball's thrown up.
When you talk about how often you talk about the league, does that include recruiting? Do you find that guys want to come into this league to, it's been
We
the
always
best
sell.
league?
We always sell our league.
There you go.
Yeah, always sell the league, and we've had every right to sell it over time for a long time. We always sell our league, and don't you want to play in this league and play against the best? And our league is talent driven, but it's also coach driven too. There's some really good coaches in our league that I think has withstood the ebbs and flows of how our game and how sports are evolving and things like that we're not going to go away. But Big 12 basketball is here to stay as a dominant power. I don't see that going away. I think kids want to be recruited to participate in leagues like that. And then you look at Darren Peterson. That was a big reason why he wanted to come here. And he'll be at the game tomorrow to witness the first game. He and his family are coming in to see this. And then the bonds that goes to BYU. I mean, I would think one of the selling points, there's a lot of selling points these days, but one of the selling points is, look, you get to play against, night in and night out. And people will recruit to Houston that way, and Arizona that way, and Baylor that way, and West Virginia that way, Iowa State that way. So, and all the other schools, that's a bonus to be able to sell that.
With Javon Small, who's leading the Big 12 in scoring right now, what stands out to you about his performance thus far this year, especially maybe as compared to when he was at Oklahoma State?
Well, what stands out to me more than anything is that we didn't get him. That was we recruited Javon, and I think he's terrific. He's got size. He's 6'4". He's strong. He can get off the bounce. He can get off the catch. He's a point that obviously can score off the ball. He's a good basketball player, and so he's off to a great start. And so he'll be a handful for us tonight. We went back and watched the games last year at Oklahoma State to see how do we try to limit him and stuff like that. And to be honest, I don't think we did a great job on him. I think he missed some shots that he's probably making those same shots this year.
Just talk about the rest of the Mountaineer team, how they are inside.
Well, I think that they're now they got 3 big guys they're going to throw at you, but I also think they can be hard to guard because they can play small too. Because obviously one of their bigs can shoot threes and step away from the basket, which is we really haven't had a lot of people in the preseason that had fives that shot that many threes. What's he shot, like 39 or something like that? I mean, that's a lot of threes for a five. So I think that they're very skilled for a group of bigs, but probably unless they play the obviously true five, obviously undersized to the point where starting five is really a 4, starting 4 is really a 3 from a skill standpoint.
In regards to Small, having Shaq more healthy, I mean, and the way he moves his feet, is that a nice thing to be able to go to off the bench?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think there's a lot of things that Shaq can bring to the table when he gets totally comfortable and acclimated. That's going to be very positive for us. And the big thing is, you know, he's a darn good guard, and this is his last go around and all those things. But for him to be most effective, he's not a 35-minute a game guy. He needs to be in that 28 to 30 range, and he'll become the defender he was when he's Big 12 Defender of the Year when he's playing a little bit less minutes, I think.
What do you think of Joe Yesufu's game?
We all love Joe. You know, nobody wants to see Joe leave. We understood why he did. I think he's terrific. Joe's a handful if he gets hot. One of the games they played, he had, I want to say, 11 points in 2.5 minutes or something like that. He's one of those guys. He gets cooking. He's pretty effective and got a quick release and you know, he'll get a shot off. Now we just got to be there and limit his good looks.
How do you prepare when one of their best players might or might not play?
I think that's a hard thing to prepare for, because watching what they ran in the last 3 games compared to what they ran against Gonzaga and Arizona and Louisville are probably 2 different things, because they can play. They played so much to getting him shots and guys. I know you've seen probably him some on tape. He's not a good shooter. He's an elite guy shooting the basketball with range, you know, that's really deep. And he's proven he can do it against the best competition. So probably a little bit different. So we'll prepare like he is, but not know as of this point.
How's your injury report?
I'll be honest, Gary, I got a hangnail the other day, but other than that, I'm feeling great. No, we're fine. If you're talking about the team, yeah, we're fine. We're fine.
Bill, Ray Bechard retired recently. I wonder your thoughts on him and his career and him paving the way for you to be the longest tenured KU coach right now.
Stanley Redwine.
Doggone it.
I think Stanley's been, Sean, is that right? Stanley's been here.
Stanley's been about 3 years. 25.
Was
Oh,
that?
I'm not even close.
Yes, you're not even.
So you knew. So you tracked that.
I've been tracking for years.
Okay, about Ray.
And I'm not going to catch Stanley, I don't think. Well, first of all, I think people, when they're at a place and support a place, you sometimes take for granted the success a place has just because it's at the place. Kansas volleyball success is because of Ray Bechard. And I mean, he's a stud. And to do it as long as he's done it in a manner in which never called attention to himself, always gave the young ladies all the credit. You know, team first guy all the way around. Yeah, I'm happy for him. I called him and told him congratulations immediately. But he'll struggle with what's the opposite of buyer's remorse, but he'll struggle with, did I do the right thing at the right time? But that's natural. I saw him the other day with all those grandkids running around. And he looked like a pretty happy fella. So I think it's fantastic, and he deserves to be recognized and treated in a way that don't take for granted going to the Final Four at KU in volleyball. That is something, when you look at Nebraska, he was in the league with Nebraska and Texas, all right? And they go win a national championship or Final Four, both of them almost every year. And when they leave, he basically controls the league. That shows you how good he is. And then, but don't take for granted Sweet 16s and Elite Eights and Final Fours in volleyball, because it just doesn't happen every year, and certainly doesn't happen in a place that isn't known to be a volleyball school. So it's fantastic what he's done.
Coach,
I'd like to know your thoughts about what you're gonna need from Zeke in the conference season. He's done so much for you already. And is there any rubbing off between him, learning from Dewan, being on the floor with Dewan, and you know, they both, their games seem to be elevated.
I think that Zeke's helped Dewan, and I think without question Dewan's helped Zeke. I wouldn't want Zeke to be your lead guard all the time. It's to shoot it and think it and defend it and do all that stuff. It's nice to have somebody out there that really relishes in doing those things too. So I think I don't expect Zeke to be anything more or less than what he's been for us up until this point, but I think he's really a good basketball player. And so often we get caught up in he's really good if the ball goes in. And I think he's one of those guys that's become a good player when the ball doesn't have to go in for him to be a good player.
Since the last time we talked to you, the NCAA officially issued the waiver for JUCO people whose eligibility expires. I mean, what do you think about that and having another kind of mid-year roster wrinkle enter the equation?
You know, I don't know that it's bothersome to me as far as a wrinkle, because I think it's far enough out. Now, if they made this decision after the portal was open and after you sign guys in the portal, then they make the decision, then you say, God, well, if I'd have known that, I wouldn't have done this. But the fact that, you know, in our situation, we could get Diggy back. But the fact that we know now the portal recruiting will be based on what we know. So I think what's going to be real interesting is beyond that, and I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form happening immediately or whatever, but there's so much talk about giving kids a 5th year of eligibility, period. What happens if and when that ever kicks into play? Then you'll be talking about something that's major, even more so than the junior college eligibility. And I haven't heard anything about that coming into play today by any means, but in the seasons to come, that's going to be another wrinkle that people are going to have to fit into their criteria, that you get 5 years, but you only get 15 roster spots. And the 15 roster spots were determined with 4 years of eligibility. Now it's determined with 5 years eligibility. You basically eliminated walk-ons in many ways, shape, and form. And so then you're going to be getting into some other things. But now I don't think it's a wrinkle. I think it's a bonus right now.
Anything else? Thanks, Coach.
No questions on Peterson?
What does that look like? I'm just wondering, like, is he just coming to see the game? Is he just, I mean?
Yeah, he's already been on an
Right.
official visit. So
Right.
yeah, he's coming to see the game. You know, with his schedule, with the way that they do games in high school now on those exclusive type travel type teams. I mean, they're going to play 40-something games. I mean, they don't have weekends free, you know, very often. And so, yeah, this is a chance for he and his family to come down here and get a feel for what it's like. When he visited here before, Allen Fieldhouse was under renovation. You couldn't walk outside or be a part of anything because of construction and everything. So he's really looking forward to seeing what it's really like.
This will be his first game?
This will be his first game. He visited when he was like in 7th or 8th grade, driving through.
Okay.
Parents just came by, driving through. He was an unknown to us at that particular time. But people said, you know, he may have a chance to be a pretty good player, and he turned out to be a pretty
People
good
were right.
Yeah, people were right on that one.
Is he a top recruit in your tenure at all your stops?
I've said all along, I think that Sharon's the best basketball player that we've recruited since I've been here. And if you stop and think about who would be next, you could say Wiggs, you could say Joel, even though Joel was a prospect more than a player at the time. And there's one other name that comes to mind, that's Josh Jackson.
Yeah. Selby.
To me, Darren's the best player we've recruited since we've been here. When you talk about a player and a combination of a player and a prospect, I think that's without question. So he's a special talent.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.